Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Workers at a Tasmanian dairy factory are striking, claiming a ballooning pay disparity compared to their counterparts in regional Victoria. Negotiations between dairy giant Saputo and its maintenance workers breaking down. The union says they're being shortchanged by more than 20%.
Tools down at midday. Maintenance workers at Saputo Dairy's Burnie plant striking as enterprise bargaining negotiations stall.
Fed up of being treated like we're somehow inferior to the mainland.
The major sticking point claims the 24 employees who maintain the Burnie plant are paid 21% less than those doing the same job in regional Victoria.
Frustrated, disappointed. They just feel that they're certainly not respected in what they do, and our skills here are higher. The site is more complicated in technology.
Other workers standing in solidarity today, but employees say the industrial action will continue until their demands are met. The company telling us it's committed to continuing negotiations in good faith to reach an agreement. These negotiations with Saputo have been dragging on since August last year, but the union says that this wage disparity between Tasmanian and mainland workers isn't something that's unique to this company.
That's an old legacy around just about every industry in Tasmania, where it's cheaper to live in this state than it is anywhere else, but that's long gone. So cost of living here, cost of petrol, housing, rent, it's all gone through the roof.
Nick Kelly, 7 Tasmania News.
The search for the source of a gas leak closed off parts of Devonport for more than an hour early this morning. For more, we're joined by reporter Annie Green. And Annie, the emergency situation was sparked by a bizarre theft.
Authorities were able to find the source of the leak, Kim. It turned out the laundromat's gas meter was missing. Police believe it was stolen in the early hours of this morning, releasing CCTV of the person they think is responsible. William Street remained closed for more than an hour, and residents were asked to stay indoors as firefighters worked to shut off the gas and make the area safe. The laundromat remained closed throughout the day. Anyone with information about the incident is urged to call Crime Stoppers. Kim?
Okay, thank you very much there, Annie. Well, it's now harder than ever for Tasmanians receiving government support payments to find a rental, according to new data from Anglicare. The charity is ramping up calls for more social housing and ongoing support for those on an age pension or young people struggling financially.
Damning results showing rental affordability has hit new lows.
Every single private rental property advertised is out of reach of anybody who's on job seeker, youth allowance, aged pension.
Anglicare releasing the March snapshot, showing severely limited housing options for the 134,000 Tasmanians on income support.
The people in receipt of Centrelink are already doing it tough, and yet when food prices, petrol prices and rents are all rising, it's just adding more and more.
Over 1,100 properties were listed for long-term lease, but that's a 58% fall from 2013. With many deemed inappropriate for someone with a disability, 27 were affordable for someone on a pension, but nearly all were share houses.
Firstly, there's nothing affordable for them. They need a place on their own usually. And then there's no guarantee that it's going to be anywhere near the services that they need.
Just one room was listed as affordable for a single person on job seeker, while for families with 2 kids, the same payment would cover just 12 rentals statewide.
For some cohorts, if they are indeed to get a rental of their own, they're looking at Zeehan or Rosebery or Strawn.
Anglicare is now calling on the state government to build more social housing to address the private rental supply and to reform the Residential Tenancy Act. The Liberals reconfirming 10,000 social and affordable homes are to pop up in the next decade.
In addition to that, we're now investing more funds into private rental incentive schemes, another 200 homes to be added.
Anglicare says the sooner that happens, the better. Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
A coroner has found alcohol, drug use and the failure to take basic safety precautions led to a boating tragedy near Table Cape in 2021 that claimed 3 lives. Friends Brianna Thomas, Isaiah Dixon and Thomas Corto failed to return from a day trip after setting off from Wynyard on October 18. The bodies of Ms Thomas and Mr Dixon were found during a search 2 days later. A bone belonging to Mr Corto was recovered by a diver the following year. The coroner's report says they weren't wearing life jackets and were affected by alcohol and meth, adding the tragedy was wholly avoidable. A new report has found Tasmania will have the lowest economic growth nationwide in the foreseeable future, partly due to low population growth. The Deloitte Access Economic Report suggests it will rebound, but will still trail behind other states and territories. Labor's labelled the report as sobering reading.
We're seeing job losses predicted over the next few years across the Tasmanian economy. We're seeing 3,000 Tasmanians leave the state in the past year for opportunities elsewhere.
The state government says it has created 53,000 jobs in the past 10 years to boost economic development, with plans to create more. More help is on the way for families struggling with a concerning rise in mental health issues among children. State and federal governments teaming up to establish 3 centres dedicated to early intervention and support.
Childhood should be about growing, playing and learning, but for more and more kids, it's not that easy.
We've seen an increase in distress amongst young children and families in Tasmania, across Australia and around the world.
While navigating our health system may be daunting for some parents, a new program is hoping to make the process child's play. The state and federal governments joining forces to establish 3 head-to-health kids hubs across Tasmania.
People can come and ask for help and receive help at that point, rather than having to wait for it to get very serious or too difficult.
The centres will cater to children under the age of 12, offering access to psychiatrists, psychologists, nurses and social workers.
This is about getting ahead of the game in terms of providing prevention and support.
It's hoped the program will fill gaps in our current health system and make it easier for families to access the right care at the right time.
Often they're services for children or services for families, but to bring them together in an integrated way, offering wraparound support, is going to make such a big difference.
Located in Launceston, Burnie and Bridgewater, they'll be up and running by the end of the year. Victoria Easto, 7 Tasmania News.
The Glenorchy Council building is set to light up yellow as it becomes a yellow ribbon safety council member, encouraging residents to drive safer. On average, 35 people die on Tasmanian roads a year. The Sarah Group hoping to curb that number completely.
And it's not just those who we lose, it's also the serious injuries that occur and the people who then have to look after those who have suffered serious injury.
It's a matter of education. We'll use every tool at our disposal to make sure that we get that message across.
The move in line with National Road Safety Week starting on May 5. Tasmanians are being urged to take extra steps to prevent falls. It's part of No Falls April, an international campaign aimed at providing strategies to help those most at risk.
Keeping more Tasmanians steady on their feet. The Health Department launching a new campaign as part of No Falls Month.
Evidence definitely tells us that staying active as long as possible is definitely something that can help reduce falls.
Highlighting the message falling is not a normal part of ageing and can be prevented. They're also urging people to have a look at anything in their home that could increase fall risk and what to do if you do take a tumble.
And if you do reduce a risk of a fall, if you do happen to have one, just knowing what your plan is in that situation.
Older Tasmanians especially urged to educate themselves. 30% of Australians over the age of 65 most often experiencing trips and falls. Lindisfarne resident Janice Rolfe, one of many taking extra preventative measures after several near misses.
I did a program with exercising for 8 weeks that sort of helped, strengthen my legs. And
technology also proving handy in an emergency.
This that I can buzz if I fall, and so that's helped greatly.
Officials are hoping more people become proactive in learning about preventing falls and reducing risk.
There's a lot of resources online, community health centres, anywhere where you normally get your health information. Finding out as much about falls as possible is really useful.
Rebecca Gaydaneris, 7 Tasmania News.
And Tasmanians are being encouraged to attend Anzac Day services across the state. Veterans Affairs Minister Guy Barnett highlighting the importance of paying respect.
In World War I, we had more than 15,000 Tasmanians who served and 3,000 who made the ultimate sacrifice. I urge my fellow Tasmanians to say thank you for your service to a veteran or a member of their family wherever you can.
A full list of services can be found on the RSL Tasmania website. A Tasmanian sailing organisation is celebrating the refurbishment of its trusty yachts after more than 20 years of service. Sailability and its volunteers provide a much-loved change of pace for participants, many of whom live with disability.
They've been cruising the river for more than 20 years. Now Sailability's yachts are back on the water after a long-awaited refurbishment.
Everything's nice and new on them and everything's working well.
The project costing $20,000 and almost 2 years. It's been all hands on deck to spruce them back up.
It was a big task for us volunteers.
But for Sailability, it was a task worth doing. The crew of lifelong seafarers keen to share their love of the activity.
The river from the water looks a lot different than from the road.
With many participants living with disability, modifications have been made for comfort and safety.
The clients sit down a lot lower in the boats and that keeps them stable while the boat's sailing.
Able to enjoy the peace and quiet of being on the river. Sailing days are so popular, some clients come from as far away as the East Coast.
On the boat, they're so calm and just sit and enjoy the movement of the boat through the water and the wind through their hair.
You can see some wildlife. You know, we quite often see a seal down here, we see swans, we see there's a sea eagle further down the river.
On board with another 2 decades of smooth sailing. Annie Green, 7 Tasmania News.
The current Hadley's Arts Prize residency winner has begun her Tasmanian stint. Melbourne-based artist Melissa Kenihan is pushing an environmental message through her sketches and paintings, using the state's rugged and wild landscape as her muse.
My work is quite diverse, but it is all about nature. It is about the importance of caring for all elements of nature.
Her work will be on display at the Salamanca Arts Centre this Saturday. With Tasmania aiming for a low transmission future, there are still many myths about how sustainable energy actually works. An annual electric expo is being held in Tasmania for the first time, aiming to answer questions and showcase the latest innovations.
Aiming to drive positive change towards a more sustainable future. The Australian Electric Vehicle Association is launching the state's first energy expo.
I think it's the real opportunity for people to speak to people who have lived experience with electric vehicles and debunk some of those myths and give them a deeper understanding of the benefits.
The event promises to be a collaborative one, hoping to bring together key stakeholders, exploring ways in which everyday practices can be made more efficient.
You can control your energy future and it's not that hard. Given the right advice and the right products, you can take control.
Electric vehicles a big focus, with over 3,000 EVs already on Tasmanian roads. That number rising, with an average of 300 new EVs registered each month. The expo is hoping to debunk some common myths associated with the battery-powered cars.
A really good time, I guess, to bring all Tasmanians on board, debunk some of the myths that are spread by Big Oil and Big Auto, and give everyone a real appreciation of the benefits of electrification.
As Tasmania prepares to host the event here in Hobart for the first time, organisers are calling on the government, industry leaders and community members to get involved.
The impacts are fully considered. There's a lot of work that goes into talking to the community particularly and getting their input. Everything has an impact. I think it's a conversation around the relative impacts and how Tasmania can benefit from this transition that's bound to happen.
The expo will host a diverse range of exhibits, demonstrations and even a live theatre. Today's launch a snapshot of what energy enthusiasts can expect when the event kicks off on November 1st. Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
In the NWFL, Ulverston's young squad is raring to go on Thursday, looking for their second win of the season in the traditional Anzac Day clash with Penguin.
It's been kind of neck and neck between Ulverston and Penguin for a fair few years now. So I guess people always put this Anzac Day game in the diary as one that they're keen to perform in.
That's at Dial Park, 4:20 on Anzac Day. He's already being compared to Eddie Ockenden. Now Northwest Graduates teen sensation Oliver Stebbings is following in his footsteps. At just 17, catching the eye of national selectors with a call up to the under-21 national squad. The tap on the shoulder coming off the back of a hat-trick against OHA.
It's definitely the end goal, but it's probably quite a few years away. I've got to grow a bit. I'm only 17, so there's a fair bit of age to catch up.
In the women's competition, University have a huge confidence boost from their first win of the season against Diamondbacks. Defender Holly Teal says her team is focused and ready for their next game on Saturday.
We go in with the same mindset every game that we need to put in hard work. Doesn't matter who we're playing, we go in, we fight hard and we fight till the last minute for every game. And I think that's been our mindset the entire way through.
University still have a bit of work ahead of them, sitting second last on the ladder.
Good evening. Hobart made it to 22 degrees today, Launceston 21 and 19 the top in Devonport and Burnie. Campania, Grove, Bushy Park, Ouse and Flinders Island all 23, which was the high. Bushy Park and Ouse as well having the warmest temperature. They also had the coldest overnight with 0. St Helens and Friendly Beaches 22. King Island and Strawn 21, Lowhead 20, Lyowini 15. There was some high-level cloud that streamed across the state today, the rain-bearing cloud just there poking into the picture to the west. Now that is part of a larger band of cloud too, stretching back through Victoria to South Australia. Thunderstorm activity is over the Gulf with cloud and onshore stream over northern New South Wales and southern Queensland. Tomorrow we'll be in between 2 cold fronts in a strong west-southwesterly airstream as a high sets up behind all that. Those winds up to 25 to 35 knots across all coasts with strong winds over the lakes as well. We have a gale warning, that's for waters from Sandy Cape right around the state to Low Rocky Point, a strong wind warning for remaining waters. A warning also to sheep graziers for most grazing districts tomorrow. And for tomorrow, 16 with a shower. Hobart, showers easing from Geeveston, 14 the top and just 13 for Bothwell, 3 overnight. Launceston, 7 overnight, 16 the high with an early shower clearing. Devonport a shower and 15 also for Cressy. Burnie expecting a high of 15 degrees with a shower or 2. Showers for Strawn and 16 the top for Curry, a windy day on King Island. St Helens a morning shower, 17 the maximum, 15 for Swansea and Orford. On to Anzac Day, a mostly fine and cloudy, but maybe a shower in the west along with Geeveston and Bothwell, all single-digit temperatures for the dawn services. Another shower over the west on Friday, but fine elsewhere. Fine as well for most on Saturday with light winds. 24 and fine in Perth, cool and cloudy for Adelaide, even cooler in Melbourne with a shower there. Fine and sunny weather though for Canberra, Sydney and Brisbane. And cloudy conditions mostly around the state, 17 in Hobart, 15 in Launceston and Devonport. A lot of people don't know this, but it's the 4th year anniversary of Kim Miller being back in the chair in the main area here in our studio. To mark the occasion, Kim, I've got quite a few emails from our viewers and what they think about you. And, our producer said we don't have any time, Kim, but I'm sure they're all very complimentary.
And that's something I didn't know. I thought that was weeks ago. That means I get a new contract, doesn't it? Well, that's where we leave it for now. Thanks for your company. For now, good night, everyone.